going to go ahead and we're going to do an assembly file, and we're going to assemble our birdhouse. So just like before, we're going to start off, instead of a part file, this time we're going to choose an assembly file. Okay, and you're going to see that the ribbon looks a little bit different than when we were doing a part file. We want to make sure that we have this button place. If for some reason you have Content Center, do this little pull down menu here and make sure that you choose place. And we're going to go ahead and click on place, and we're going to place the parts to our birdhouse. So let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and get my birdhouse front. And if I zoom out here, that's the front. I'm going to go ahead and click. Okay, I'd only need one of these, so I placed one. I'm going to right mouse click and click OK, so I just keep one in my assembly. I'm going to choose place again, and I'm going to look for the other parts that I need for my birdhouse. Let's go with the birdhouse. Let's go with the side. Okay, so I'm going to place two side pieces, right mouse click, click OK. So I've got my two sides, I've got the front. I'm going to place the roof. Just need one of those, click, right mouse click, OK. And then I'm going to go ahead and place the back. Just need one of those, right mouse click, OK. And let's see here, I need the bottom. Just need one of those, click OK. Alright, so I have the parts to my birdhouse. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to take the back. What I'm going to do with the back is I'm going to right mouse click. I'm going to go down to where it says grounded, and I'm going to check grounded. And I know it's grounded because if I hover over it, I can see a little push pin. Also over in the browser, you'll see that there's a little push pin that's attached to the back. Okay, so that part I can no longer move. It's locked in. These parts I can move. So I'm going to attach everything, or assemble everything, to the back piece of the birdhouse. Okay, so let's start off by attaching one of the side pieces. So I'm going to take the side piece. I'm going to use my view cube to rotate this around. I'm going to choose up here where it says constrain, and I'm going to click on constrain, and I get my constrain button here. And what I'm going to do is, there's two constraints that I'm going to use. I'm going to use a mate, and in a mate constraint, what it does is it puts two surfaces together. Okay, and so I'm going to start by using that, and I'm going to take this edge, or not this edge, I'm sorry. Notice that I can select an edge, but in everything that I'm going to do right here, it's going to be a surface. So make sure, you may have to zoom in a little bit to make sure you get a surface. You don't want to do the edge like that. You want to do the surface. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click mate, and I'm going to mate this surface to that base. And then I need to go ahead and I need to click apply. Okay, so I've got one constraint on this right now, and that was to my side piece, not that one. If I go to the browser here, I can see under side piece, you can see the constraint that I put on that was a mate. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and use the flush command. So to flush two surfaces together, I can choose those surfaces. So I'm going to click on this surface here and that surface here, and what it does is it flush it, or it makes it even. So they're straight all the way across. And then every time I put a constraint on there, I have to hit apply. So make sure you hit apply. Okay, I'm going to take the view cube and I'm going to rotate it towards the bottom now, where I can get to these bottom surfaces. And what I want to do is I want to make these even. So again, that's going to be a flush constraint. So I'm going to click, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and I'm going to choose that surface here with that surface there. Okay, and now it's made it even, and I'm going to click apply like I have to do with each constraint. Alright, well, let's see what I have so far. I'm going to go back to my home button, and it's looking pretty good so far. Alright, so next thing, let's put the other side in. So I'm going to go ahead and again, let's cancel that for right now. I'm going to move this over to kind of where I can get it into position where I can work with it. And I'm going to click on the constraint button, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with this side. I'm going to mate first this side, and I'll rotate the view cube over so I can get to the surface that I want to get to. And again, make sure you're not clicking on the edge. See the difference there? That's the edge, and that's the surface. And I want to make sure I get that surface. I'm going to click that surface, and I'm going to click apply. Let me go back to the home view again so I can see it. Okay, so there it is. It's just off a little bit. And all it did is just constrain. All that did was just constrain it to that plane. If I go over here and I look at the right side, you can see, oh yeah, it's mated to that surface right there. Alright, let's hit constrain. And then I'm going to go ahead and flush this side, zoom in here, with that side. And then I hit apply. Okay, now I need to get to the bottom surface. I'm going to go down here, and I want to flush that with that, apply, and let's go back to the home view and see how I'm doing. So far so good. Alright, let's take this front piece and let's move that over into position over here. And let's go ahead and let's add a constraint to that. So let's well, I could get to the back side, it doesn't matter. This is just going to flip over. You won't see it happen, but it's going to flip this, and this is centered right in the middle, so it's not really going to matter. So I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to mate that with that right there. Apply. I'm going to flush that with that. Apply. Go ahead and flush the bottom of the side piece with the bottom of the front piece, and we'll hit apply. And I'm going to go back to the home view, and let's go ahead and put the roof on. So the roof again has an angle on it, so we need to make sure that we're attaching the right side. And it looks like the angles are on this piece side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the free rotate button, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can rotate that around so that it kind of matches a little bit of what I'm trying to do, and that's get it to go something like that. Okay, deselected the free move button. I'm going to go ahead and constrain this now, and what I want to do is I want to constrain the, let's do a mate with this edge of this top surface of the side piece, and I want to mate that with the bottom of the roof. Hit apply. I'm going to want to flush that side with that side. Apply. Let's take a look and see what it looks like now. Okay, pretty good. Cancel this and see. Okay, so you see that's moving right there. So what we're going to do is slide this down, and this time I'm going to constrain, and I want to mate that surface. I'm going to use the view cube to rotate it and zoom in right there to that surface, and then hit apply. And I'll go back to the home view now, and that's looking pretty good. So I've got to get this piece now in underneath. So let's free rotate that piece. Select the piece first, re-rotate it, and I think we're looking at it like that, in that direction, right about there. Okay, let's deselect free rotate, kind of move it into position over here, and let's rotate the view cube to the bottom. You can kind of see the way that's going to line up there. Let's go ahead and hit constrain, and I'm going to constrain this with a mate first, and I want to mate that side with that side. apply. I want to flush the bottom of that with the side there, apply. And now this is where it gets a little tricky because I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to slide it. You can see there's two constraints on it, so I got to open this thing up and I want to be able to see that edge. And I'm going to hit constrain and I'm going to mate that, and I'm going to use the view cube again to rotate with that. Apply, and let's see what it looks like now. Okay, it looks like we've got the birdhouse attached. If I cancel this and I try to pull the parts, you can see that they're all constrained and they're all in place the way they should be. Okay, and finally, let's go ahead and save our birdhouse. So I'll go to File, Save As, on my birdhouse, and I'm going to call this Final VH Birdhouse Assembly. And I'm going to go ahead and save it there. One other note, I want you to notice that on each one of the parts that I placed in the browser, it has a history for each part. For example, if I click on the roof, I can see it highlights over here, and I do this pull down menu, you'll see that I have all these constraints. I have a mate constraint, shows where I mated it. I have my flush constraint, and I have another mate constraint. Okay, so this is a history of each one of the constraints that I put on each of the pieces. So if for some example you're getting a over-constrained window keeps coming up, go over to the piece that you've constrained. Like for example, if I go to my side right here and I go down and I can see whatever it is that I have on this piece, if it's over-constraining, you may have to go back and you can right mouse click and delete that constraint and see where the problem is. But this is the history of everything that was done on each of these pieces. So if you're over constraining and it doesn't allow you to constrain it, you may have to go back into that piece and delete some of these constraints and reconstrain it in a different way. Just wanted to make that point because the browser is a useful tool because it does show you everything that you've done. It's a record of all the constraints that you put on there and all the pieces that you've placed in your assembly. So you can work from the browser here backwards and kind of reverse engineer it and figure out what your problems are.